Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Coda Connect. I am Michelle. The reason why I'm starting this YouTube channel is because I've realized that there's not many resources for people that are deaf and hard of hearing related to workforce development. I am a hearing individual and I have access to podcasts where I'm able to just stick in my earbuds and listen to different discussions about people's strategies to searching for employment, what their experiences are. But as far as the deaf, they don't have access to that type of information. And I see a lot of resources on YouTube that's available to me as a hearing person, but that lacks for the deaf community. So I've decided to start up Coda Connect, my YouTube channel. The goal for my channel is to help students and young adults um, with resources. So today's hot topic is resumes. What is that exactly? A resume is a document that you would provide to an employer or give it to a boss. Um, and on that sheet of paper, that document, it'll explain who you are. So you'll put down your name, your address if you like, and contact information. When you apply for a job, an employer will want to be able to contact you for an interview. An employer might not have any clue that you actually have a hearing loss um, and that you struggle on the telephone. So, what I would suggest is that you put down your video phone number. Um, that way, or your CapTel phone, that way an employer can contact you and you're able to have seamless communication. If you put down your cell phone number, um, if you do decide to do that, I would like for you to put text only. But I'll be honest with you. If I was an employer and I was reviewing resumes and one said text only, I would be a little bit hesitant. And the reason because of that is I wouldn't want to use my personal cell phone to contact a person for an interview. Suppose I don't hire that person and they text me repeatedly and I decide to go in a different direction. Just want you to think about it. Just put it in the back of your mind. Um, Maybe that might not be the best option, but honestly, it's really up to you. It's your decision. Now, email addresses. So, in regards to an email address, I want you to make sure that you're using a professional email. Not one that has a funny name like crazy, sexy, cool. No, that's not going to work. Your employer doesn't need to know that kind of information. They don't need to know that about you, okay? What you can use is something with your name and a few numbers that might be specific to you, but still considered tactful, all right? A resume will explain who you are as a person. We've already talked about the contact information with your name. Um, you would want to you can add your objective. That is, what's your goal? So, for example, if I was to be on the search for a job hunt, looking for a position providing therapy. My background is therapy, counseling, that type of stuff. So, if I was searching for a job related to therapy, I would put something like, my objective is to find employment utilizing my background, my education, to find a position where I'm able to provide therapy to the deaf and hard of hearing community, whatever, something like that. And I would expound on that as far as what my goal is. Under that, you're going to put down your work history. So I want to emphasize, when you are developing your first resume, it's gonna be pretty generic because you have limited work history, especially coming out of high school. If you're a senior in high school or a freshman, sophomore, junior in college, you don't have much work history. You're just getting started. An employer doesn't mind looking at, are you a person that has leadership skills? They like that type of stuff. Do you use your time wisely? Are you part of a social club? Such as, do you have responsibilities? Are you a president, vice president, basketball manager? Do you have any volunteer experience? Babysitting experience? Different qualities like that employers like to see. And for an employer, they typically want to look at the past 10 years. So if you don't have 10 years worth of work experience, that's completely fine. Use what you have. And if you're struggling with developing your resume, that's completely fine too. We all have been there. I would suggest you just writing down the name of the positions or the titles that you've had. Maybe you've worked at a grocery store. Your position, was it a cashier? Were you handling money? Were you a bagger? And then under that, how long did you work there? When did you start working there? Was that June or July? What year was that? Put that information down. And then also, you're going to put, when did you end, when did your job end at that position? You're also going to want to include what your job duties were. Maybe you're having a hard time trying to put into words what you actually did. That's okay. Go online and look at the different job descriptions. You can go to your old job and look at their job descriptions and copy and paste that information that applied to what you did in your previous position. One of my favorite tips and tricks I like to use is I like to go to onetonline.org. I usually help my clients develop resumes, and they have a ton of information. They have any job you can think of on that website. That website's actually under the Department of Labor. So any job that you can imagine, it's there. Like I said, a ton of information. So let's go check it out now. So here's the website. And up at the top, I'm going to write down food prep worker. There's a list of the different type of occupations. We're going to click the first one. At about the middle of the page, these are all the different tasks. It looks like it's 31 tasks displayed. Clean and sanitize work areas, store food in designated containers, portion and wrap the food. The list goes on. So you can copy and paste this information. And again, at the top, it tells you what you're looking at. Food prep worker. So I typically visit this website, browse it, I find what the responsibilities are, and like I said, I just excerpt it and I use that information, and it saves me so much time. So, say for example, if you're a student that's a part of the OCS program, meaning that you've got a lot of work experience while you were actually in school, wow, you're already ahead of the game. You have a lot of information to put down on your resume. So, suppose you were working at Chick-fil-A, in the restaurant industry, and you were cleaning tables whenever a customer was done eating. You would clean the table to make sure it was ready for the next customer. You can put that on your resume. You could put that you were a lobby attendant. You did the cleaning, and made sure it was a sanitary place for the next person. Maybe you worked at a hotel. Maybe you were responsible for helping wash the sheets. Maybe wash some of the towels, the dirty linen. Folding or helping making beds. Or in the house, all that in the housekeeping department. You can put that down on your resume. You can put your job skills down. Maybe you've helped at a daycare or some type of school, a school center. You were a teacher assistant and you helped provide snacks. Or maybe you help students and the teachers. Help the students and the teachers with whatever was needed. You can put that information down on your resume. You already have work experience. You can put that down, note down all of those experiences, all of that information to build and develop your first resume. Write down your volunteer or your work history. Thanks for viewing my first video. Please comment, like, subscribe, all that jazz. And I'll be making sure that I'm looking at your comments, any feedback that you have for me, and what type of content that you want to see in the future. Love you. Bye. Stay tuned for part 2.